live. We are live. Hey, we got somebody in here. Beautiful. Let's pop out the chat. And then I'm going to kill this. Alright, let me know if you see the message. Cool. Alright, because I closed out YouTube, but I guess it still works. Alright. So we're going to do a little mock run, talk about real estate, all of our topics, and then I'll record each section after. So we're going to look at real estate and if housing will be more affordable after the election in the coming years. Check, check. There we go. The big thing with now in buying houses is that there's a super high interest rate, which means if you're buying a $300,000 home, pull up the calculator, and the interest rate is 10%, you're paying $3,000 just for the interest rate. So the interest rate is crazy stupid. When people a couple years ago got locked in at 4%. So the question is, will that interest rate drop down again so people who are first-time home buyers still have a chance? $3,000. I want to also see real estate stock price. Coming down now, but the market is turning downwards anyway. It's like 6 months, a year. What's this yellow line? S&P 500 versus real estate. Okay. Interesting. Now, if real estate booms, does interest rate get cut? Hmm. All right. Mm-mm. So it's looking like, from the chart and from the news here, real estate isn't just going to crash or die off. So what you have to do is try to find the right place, and when it checks off all the boxes that it's the house you want to live in for the next 30, 50 years, you want to take that risk and jump on it, because building that equity is better than renting. That's the vibe I'm getting. Ba-ba-ba. this we gotta go down one. There we go. Alright, so what's it saying here? It's saying from last May to this May, still went up 24%. Hmm. Hmm. 6%'s not awful. Mm-mm-mm. Damn. Boom. This is what we wanted to see right here. At present, mortgage rates have pulled back from the peak they reached last year and are hovering between the high of 6 and 7%. The recent fluctuation in the market add complexity to the forecasting for the exact path of mortgage rates. However, if inflation continues to decrease, there is a likelihood that mortgage rates will drop at some point this year. Okay. Okay. 10-year treasury bond yield. 10-year treasury bond yield chart. All right. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. I want a bigger chart. 1 year. Let's do 2 year. Hmm. After the pandemic, inflation skyrocketed as prices on everything from rent to food increased in response, starting to increase interest rates to cool the pace of rising prices, hiking its benchmark rate 11 times between March 22nd and July 23rd. The question is, when will Fed cut interest rates? This is huge. This is huge. Alright, so let's throw that article in here. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Alright, let's run it. We're gonna record a little crypto hound real housing market. Let's run it. What's up, everybody? It's the Crypto Hound here. We are coming at you today with the latest and the greatest, only talking about the most important things I could think of. So hopefully they're important to you. If not, there'll be more topics to come. But the first thing I want to talk to you about was real estate and where we're at, where we're going. It's tough looking at houses right now. The greed to get a house is tough. And looking at the numbers along with it just makes you wonder if you're going to have anything left to hold on to after. So we're going to just go through real estate market and kind of the projections for the next couple of years. And I did some deep diving into some of the meanings of the terms, how the Fed kind of caused this interest rate hike when they started increasing the interest rates, and everything got expensive. Everything is expensive right now. So buying a house is the least on a lot of people's minds. But if you're a blue-collar working person, it would be nice to move up to a house one day. But knowing when and the best time to get in could save you money and could help you flip your house sooner to the next house after that. So timing the market is better than... No, time in the market is better than timing the market. Sorry. All right, so here's just a general graph, real estate on Yahoo Finance. It's showing the S&P 500 here in the yellow, which is looking like it outperformed percentage-wise compared to real estate, where real estate has been below this 25% line, chilling at a 20% right now. But in me and my charting days, it looks like it's prime for a breakout rather than a dip to the downside. It looks like we established a bottom here and it popped back up. And now we're pushing the upper support line of that. So it looks like a pump's coming. Anyway, go to the next article here. This was a table I found, and it goes back from the last year of housing affordability index. And if you look at May in 2023, 401,000 was the average price, and now your average price is 424,000. And that's after the 2022 is when they started to increase the interest rates, and that was under $400,000 a home. So anything from 2023 and beyond, you're looking to spend more than $400,000 on a single family home. And the mortgage rates in 2021 was 3%. 2022, when it started to increase, 5.4%. And now throughout the last 2 years of 2023 and 2024, we've been in the 6 to 7% range, and that's just a lot for a new home buyer to be looking at. 3% is manageable, but a 6, near like close to 10%, is tough to swallow. So the question is, will this mortgage rate ever come down, and how will it come down? What factors need to happen for us to get a better mortgage rate and a better deal on houses? So this is an article from the Mortgage Reports, and this line here I highlighted here, current mortgage rate trends, says, at present, mortgage rates have pulled back from the peak they've reached last year and are hovering between a high of 6 and a low of 7% range. The recent fluctuations in the market add complexity to forecasting the exact path of mortgage rates. That's why we're talking about it. However, if inflation continues to decrease, meaning the Fed starts to cut these interest rates, there is a likelihood that mortgage rates will drop at some point this year. And I found some really good projections here. We project the federal funds rate target range to fall from 5% to 5.50 currently to 4.75 to 5 at the end of 2024. So that's sitting at a nice area, right? At least better than we're at now. And then 3% to 3.25% at the end of 2025. And then this is like a pipe dream here, 1.75% to 2% by the end of 2026, after which the Fed will be done cutting. So everyone's thinking, is it worth waiting that long? Can you wait that long? There is a thing called refinancing your home, where you can buy in at a larger interest rate, and then when interest rates come down, you can refinance it for a lower interest rate. So that's also an option. But there's some things that a house that, like, if it checks all the right boxes and it's your dream house, I still think you consider buying it. I wouldn't throw away building equity in a house versus renting for another year. Like, if you found the perfect fit for yourself and you'll be comfortable there for an extended amount of time, and especially if you're buying at a high mortgage and interest rate, you want to make sure you're willing to stay there for longer, just in case of a crash. You refinance and then want to stick it out to see some kind of property revenue or see your property increase in value. In this article here by Investopedia, I took away this line here. Mortgage lenders often peg their interest rates to the 10-year Treasury bond yield. So then what did I do? I looked up the 10-year Treasury bond yield. And the 10-year Treasury bond yield looks like this. Sitting at 4.269% currently. Right? It was almost up here at 5%. And it's saying it's going to come all the way back down into the 2% range. Now, if we go 5-year overall, 2% range is below our MACD here, which is like the average, right? So if it does go to 2%, I guess you have a crashing structure in the 10-year Treasury bond yield, which, does that mean we're in a recession? I don't know. But yeah, that's what we have to look forward to. But like buying a house when we're under this median line of this 3% is going to be a good thing. Buying right now when you're inflated above it, you're paying more. But when this flips below this median level, it would be a better time to buy a house. So this is a good thing, good chart to look at to see how the Fed is looking at interest rates. And hopefully they start cutting them soon. How does war affect the housing market? So in my head, two things can happen. After this next election, we can flourish and unite as a country, and everything does well. Interest rates go down. Housing can still do well, but interest rates get cut, and houses become more affordable. Maybe a bigger buy-in price, but the interest rates would be cheaper, right? Which would make a lot of people jump onto houses. So, but what would war do in a time that you're trying to buy a house? Or in a time of war, how would that change the real estate economy? So this guy says, off the top of my head, destroys property and land, creating more scarcity of the latter. Devalues property and land in areas near the conflict zone. Increases price of property and land in areas away from the conflict zone as people moving away from the zone seek refuge, meaning the U.S. right now in the Ukraine-Russia war. May have counterintuitive effects in some of these areas that refugees move to, if whatever. This was a good blast to the past here. In the immediate aftermath of World War II, there was a critical shortage of housing, exacerbated by the millions of returning veterans, many of them wanting to marry their sweethearts and buy a home to establish a family. Only there wasn't enough homes for sale. So many vets and their families lived in temporary housing for a couple of years, thanks to innovators, notably affordable tracts, suburbs, whatever. Okay. So during wars, if the war isn't in your country, it will put pressure on the housing market in other places because people are seeking refuge in safer places. This seems like a good master's thesis subject, and we're covering here on Crypto Hound. Love it. All I can do is estimate. We only have the last 200 years. That's a lot of time to estimate there, bud. And building businesses were so different. It's not in straightforward comparison. Today, 30-year mortgages are a norm, but 50 or 60 years ago, 20 years was the norm, and 100 years ago, it was 5-year balloon mortgages, and adjustable rate mortgages used to be innovation in the 1980s. In general, wars in the period have been accompanied by inflation and heavy government borrowing. That's what I'm nervous about. Wars and inflation. If inflation keeps going up, then I see no one wanting to get into a house, but houses becoming more readily available, more houses on the market. Inflation pushes rates up, and so does heavy government borrowing. And heavy government borrowing could also mean the U.S. printing more money, which we like to do in times of war, times of need, or COVID. This indicates we will have less information in the future. That means we're moving backward on having a competitive market. This shows run up in rates at the end of the Vietnam War and the Gulf oil embargo. It is interesting. Produce a rise in rates. Huh. Interesting. See, I thought that was a good topic. And now the question we've all been waiting for, should I buy a house now or wait? The current housing market is causing many prospective buyers to wait for better conditions, but there's no guarantee that it will improve considerably anytime soon. If your credit score is strong, your employment is stable, and you have enough savings to cover a down payment and closing costs could be a lot, I heard, buying now might still be smart to build that equity to get out of renting. If your personal finances are not ideal at the moment, or if home values in your area are on the decline, it might be better to wait. Or if your so that's interesting. If your home values in your area are on the decline, you would think to buy them, but they're saying to wait longer. Interesting. Average home, $426,000. Anyway, if you can buy a home and you find that dream home, pull it. Get out of renting. Start building equity. Even if it's a condo, buy something. But also, what if it's land? What if it's just an acre of land? Why buy an acre of land when the interest rate is so high? Doesn't make sense to me. You want to buy land when the interest rate is the lowest, so then you could hold on to the land for as long as you live and slowly pay it off and not having to be paying so much money in taxes. Basically, the interest rate is the taxes on the acre of land. So the higher the taxes are, it's the higher amount that you're just throwing away to the government. So the government is making money right now with the interest rates at this level, 6-7%. So hopefully the reason of raising the interest rates is try to balance out the books with all the money that we printed during COVID. So it should be interesting. So I'm not going to tell you to buy a house or not. I just want to present the latest and greatest data on real estate so you can make the best decision at the end of the day. So I hope you guys found this useful, and good luck shopping around for houses. I think I'll be waiting to see if this 2% pipe dream comes true. And if not, just being more... I'll be shopping when I see that interest rate at a lower level. You know what I'm saying? I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Crypto Hound out. Boom. One done. Riker! Alright, now we go from the real estate stuff to the 2024 election. Tea time. Tea break. Insert theme music. That could get asleep. Sorry, is that one? It's tough to like get all the information and then just sleep. But I'm not. Any advice to make the stream better? How's the visual of like the Dynasty is like our most competitive game, I'd say. Only because we're trying to get high scores and stuff. Game on. Let's get back to it. Yo, Pineapple Man, Cool Trash, terrible name. Just kidding. I love you. Oh, we're back. We're back. Had a little tea break. First segment down, talking about the housing market. Now we're going into the election. Here we go. People want to know, depending on who wins, what stocks will do better. Right? Makes sense. So we got a little charty up here. Let's do election poll on winning. Who's leading the polls? Wow, 5% Kennedy, that's it? 41% Harris? This election is crazy. Huh. Wild. It's a 2% chance. So basically it's a 50-50. 50-50 who's going to win. Maybe one day. I'm still young. All the presidents seem to be over 50. So I don't know if you need to get like a prostate exam to run for president or something. So throw some stocks that you guys think are related to the presidents or the senators. I know there's a website that can track congressmen stocks. Smart Insider, Capital Trades, Bar Chart, NPR. Unusual Whales, that might be it. Oh yeah, this is it. Ro Khanna, House, California. Almost 9,000 trades. This is great. This website shows how corrupt all of our congressmen are. It's amazing. Michael McCall, Texas, making 7,000 trades. How do you have time to do all these trades? Like 1,000 seems like a lot for a year. 7,000, 7 times the amount is incredible. DJT stock, true. Aw, we love you, Cool Trash. I apologize about bashing the name. I really do. That was harsh. So let's look into the top guy who trades the most. What's he buying? ABT, ADI, Autodesk, BAX, BKNG, CAT, CNC. But look at the big money ones. CMCSA, $15,000 to $50,000. CMCSA. What the heck is CMCSA? Oh, it's Comcast. Really? Dude bought a bunch of Comcast. Comcast looks pretty dead. Talking all-time highs, $60 down to 38. What are they seeing that we're not? Looks like it made a classic Head and Shoulders. And they think it's going to go up. Hound Coin release date. GameStop stock. Interesting. I don't see any of the Congress people jumping in GameStop stocks. Home Depot, IBM. Lulu. I'm pretty sure that's Lululemon's. $1,015,000. What's this one? 15 to 50. J&J. No way, it's J&J. Johnson and Johnson. Dude, if it's Johnson and Johnson is looking to cure cancer. If you didn't know. So J&J is a nice stock for me. Yeah, Johnson and Johnson breaking all-time highs to, oh no, it is not. Oh, 5-year, still holding strong above 140, but it still hasn't made a definite bottom yet. Max chart, we're still up here, and we broke out from here, 125. Could definitely still see a correction, but Johnson & Johnson has a lot of good news going around. And they keep beating their earnings. I like Johnson & Johnson. So yeah, let's scroll around this. This is good to have. It's just gonna take some time going through all these senators and stuff. Let's go Republican side, see what they're buying. Holy cow, this guy throws big money to the wind. Not applicable. What do you mean? Spouse stock? Does that mean child? Oh, it says whether it's his spouse or it's his child. Interesting. Kind of wild that his kid and spouse will buy stocks at the same time. That is wild. Is that Verizon? He sold Verizon? 620. Sold a bunch of Verizon. Why? Apple buys of $100,000 into Apple. Amazon sell. Nvidia sell. Monster, big buys into Monster. AMD buy. AMD's interesting. I believe AMD is like another Nvidia competitor. And it's down on the daily, down on the monthly, down on the 6-month chart. Year to date down. Under 150. All-time highs were 200. Okay. I could see the room of growth there. Intel, it seems like people are pushing away from Intel and going into Nvidia, AMD. You don't see Intel buys. Meta buys. What's Meta at now? Meta's a good play for both Republican and Democrat. $461 though, dude. I remember this a couple years ago. $100. Wow. 2023, you could have picked that up for $115, and you would have been sitting at $400. Holy cow. Think about all the companies they have. Like, I saw Metas in different countries. Incredible. Threads, WhatsApp. And Mark Zuckerberg, man. That could have been the best time to buy Meta, and now it's $500. Kicking myself for that one. I don't know about you. What's the chat saying? GameStop is dead. Do I need to put money in J&J? I will not tell you where to put your money. I'm just telling you what's out there. No, you. Pineapple Man probably lost some money in GameStop. GameStop hurt, but when GameStop pumped, what did I make money in? Express. Ooh, hold the phone here. The Express stock? Why is Express so low? Wow. Talking $120 all-time high. What's going on? Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, Express is super cheap. Interesting. Why is it this low though? Down 100% in 5 years. In the last year, tanking. Why? What's the news? Got to be careful with the Schweed stocks because you don't know. Like the smaller companies at home, they're not making any money. It's the larger companies like Trulieve. Trulieve is a dispensary, and it's at 1041 year to date. You just gotta know that they'll be here for a while. And if you go back to all time highs at $50 and you're buying in at $10, that's a 5x. That means if you have $100, it could turn into $500 by the time it goes back to all time highs. So that's not bad. But when comparing it to Express at such a low buy-in price here, your dollar goes so much further. For every $1, you're getting 2 stock shares of Express. So you get more stock shares, and you have the potential that Express could go up to $20 by the end of the year. In a year, they're predicting. So if it goes from 50 cents to $20, we pull out our calculator. $20 times be 0.5, believe, right? Hold on. So if you put in $100 at what the? Want to clear it? Clear it. It's not cooperating. $200, right? Oh my goodness. Alright, calculator's not working. We're not gonna do that. Alright. Let's try this again. So $100 into this would get you 200 shares. No. 200 shares. $100 into this would get you 200 shares. Following me? So if that goes up to $20, right? 50 cents to $20. You got to do 20 times 0.5 equals, goes in 10 times, so it's going to be a 10x. So your 200 shares turns into 2,000, or your $100 turns into $1,000. That's what we're talking about. How are you going to invest my retirement account? If I did everyone's retirement account, it'd just be a lot of work. It'd be a lot of work. But I would try to, if I did do that as like a real-time job, I feel like I'd try to keep everyone in the same umbrella of stocks, going with what the senators are picking, going with long-term yield stuff, ETFs. Oh, big question for Riker. If Riker was to invest in any stock, close your eyes, Riker, and just think of a company that you see on a daily basis or that means a lot to you. Think about a company that you'd be interested in 20 years from now. That's not going to go anywhere. You want a company that will withstand the test of time and keep on growing. So it could be a new company. It could be something we haven't even heard yet. GameStop. Cool Trash says GameStop. Now we got to look. We'll look one time. There's bigger fish to fry, but we'll look. The problem with GameStop is there's just no, like, what new can come out of GameStop? GameStop. Let's do just news. We need the news. It's still dead, but that's the best time to buy something is when it's dead. Not gonna lie. All right. Underperforms. If it keeps on underperforming, how's it gonna gain anything? Eight-day winning streak. Huh. That's an ad. Let's look at the chart, as I'm a chart guy. Holy low. Let's go 5 years. Okay. Okay. Pineapple Man. Could have doubled your money here. $10 to $24 for GameStop, for something that everyone thought was dead. Just saying. I'm just saying. You know? But hear me out. Chipotle over here went up to 59, 60 bucks, came back down, pumped back up. And this is a one-day chart. This is at $60 today. That means there are people pumping this thing. We got to pump it up. But then there's so much selling pressure underneath the big buys that it comes right back down. Interesting. We are falling. We are falling. I got a new one for you guys today. I know it makes you hungry looking at Chipotle, right? Cava. Have you guys heard of Cava? Mediterranean fast food place. I was just told today at work, it's when some of the best stocks get thrown around the job site. Go 5 years. That literally 2023, 2024, whatever. You could have bought this stock at $30 and it went up to $90. So it 3x'd, showing strong growth. Now we're sitting at $77. And I looked up an article earlier. Chipotle. Guess how many stores are in the U.S.? Give me a number. Give me a number. I'll give you a hint. It's in the thousands. See who's the closest. I'm guessing Riker will win. Do 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 do. All right. As the guesses come in, 2. You think Chipotle has 2? There's not 2 Chipotles in the entire United States, or 2,000. Fair enough. If it's 2,000, you're closer. But I believe it was like 3,500, right? This Cava restaurant only has like 150 restaurants. So if Cava gets a 10% increase or gets half the interest that Chipotle has now, you can see incredible growth in this stock. So big potential in Cava. I'm a fan. Gonna try the food soon. Just want to get it across your eyes. But we gotta steer this back into the election. Sorry. Canadian oil stocks if Trump wins. Kamala stocks. We're gonna do sustainable and tech stocks if win president. A Harris presidency would carry baton on financial industry crackdown. financial industry crackdown. Interesting. What does that mean? Okay, so she would continue. Harris would likely advance President Joe Biden's agenda of tough financial rules, an unwelcome prospect for Wall Street banks, crypto companies, and other players that have chafed under the current administration. Interesting. Deregulation? Cracking down on bank fees, non-bank lenders, and medical debt providers. Non-bank lenders, aka crypto, requiring more transparency from hedge funds as well as hikes in the amount of capital banks must hold, and a slew of enforcement actions against major cryptocurrency firms. Huh. Interesting. On Monday of Harris, adding that a second Democratic administration would finalize the Basel Capital rules and a requirement that banks hold more long-term debt and advance limits on overdraft and other fees. We gotta look this up. Basel Capital rules. Somebody teach me something today. Look this up. Basel Capital rules. Throw in the Discord. Hey. What's going on in the chat over here? CrowdStrike. I've heard of CrowdStrike before. Yeah, Riker must have fell asleep. I don't think he's talking to me, man. Nor do I really care, honestly. D Jenny, what's up, brother? How you doing? It's good to be back, man. It's good to be back. With all this political agenda narrative stuff, we're at a tipping point of this economy. And it could go either way. It's incredible. J.D. Vance on Trump's vice president is huge for finances and regulation in the crypto industry. Wall Street greed. Harris rose to prominence as Attorney General of California, where she took a tough hand with big banks. Commit more cash to help consumers harmed by predatory lending. Fake account scandal. The former administration would help homeowners. Okay, so she wants to regulate the big banks. Interesting. Kind of a weird article. Only talked about how she's anti-crypto, basically, and how she's going after big banks. but I don't see it helping us, the people. I really don't. Talking to the guy who took an L on GameStop stocks. The guy. Yeah. It's okay to take losses. It's okay to take gains. You just need to take more gains than losses. That's it. Alright, let's get into this presidential election. I'm going to start a video. I'll get to the chats once I'm done with the video. So if you guys have any questions or spicy things, just post them and then I'll review them once we're done. Alright, let's get a juicy photo of Harris versus Trump for the cover. Then I gotta post this video, and then I'm calling it a night. Alright? I did enough tonight. Thank you guys for coming in here and hyping up the chat, having some fun. Just be nice to each other, alright? Nice. What's our favorite photo here? This one's kind of juicy. I just want to view it very large. Yeah. Now we're talking. What a way to start the stream off. Here we go. Take a seat. Get ready. Get your popcorn. Crypto Hounds at it again. What's up, everybody? It's the Crypto Hound here, coming at you live with another segment. We're going to talk about the presidential election. Not going to pick sides, just going to talk about it. What are the potential outcomes for the economy if one wins or the other? And what stocks to kind of be tracking as we go into this election. Because once there is a winner, usually around the winter time, going into the new year, is when we start to see these stocks start to emerge, that the government starts to allocate money into them and they start to ramp up. So Kamala Harris taking over President Biden's seat to run for president is big, is very big. She's big in California, used to run something out there, knows a lot of people out there, which means Silicon Valley, tech stocks, which is her main deal. And in the article we just pulled up here, please hold, it said she'd be anti-crypto, which stinks. She'd try to deregulate cryptocurrency, making it more unclear for us, which is not fun. And then her main goal is to go after the big banks, but I just don't know how going after the big banks is helping us people, individuals. Like, I get cutting down on the bank fees, medical debt providers, you know what I mean? So it's really just the bank fees. And if you're not looking at your own bank fees, that's the first problem. Hikes in the amount of capital banks hold in slew of enforcement actions against major cryptocurrency firms. So coming at cryptocurrency firms and asking them for money is only going to take money out of the liquidity pool for crypto. So it doesn't sound good for crypto if Kamala wins. And it sounds good for tech stocks, more sustainable avenues. That's my take for Kamala, right? And if Trumpy wins, I would say oil stocks, energy in the U.S. If there's like energy ETFs, that would be a good place to reside. What else? Crypto finances finally might get regulated, but I would hold majority of my shares in probably energy stocks and oil, because instead of going to other countries for oil, like right now in Biden's term, we're getting majority of our oil from Iran, is what I'm hearing. We don't want to do that and pay for it anymore when you could do it in our country, get it for cheaper, and start cutting that price. So that's crucial. I found a nice chart here. Let me blow it up a little bit bigger for you guys to see. That should be better. So top Democratic picks for stocks. NVIDIA, which is up 175% this year. I wouldn't tell anyone to invest in something that's up that high already. Microsoft up 23%. That's more doable, or more, it's a steady growth. It's not like overinflated. 171% seems overinflated. Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Apple, these are mostly California shares here. Salesforce, CRM, minus 4.5%. PIMCO, Mint, minus 1%. CrowdStrike, up 46%. And Netflix. CrowdStrike was one that our viewers wanted to look into a little bit, so let's look into CrowdStrike real quick. Wow. It was a CrowdStrike outage. It was all their fault. So they're definitely going to see a nice dip in price here. Let's look it up in here. You know what I mean? This might be a great buying opportunity for CrowdStrike. Oh my gosh, it is. Oh my gosh, it is. This is an opportunistic time to get into CrowdStrike. Wow. We found one. We found one here today. Whoever said CrowdStrike in the chat, cool trash, plus 1 point. Because look at this line here. Horizontal line. All right, this is the last boom that it had started right here. And usually it likes to retest where it pushes that support up from. And it came right back to this line here. It's not done yet for any means. And it could push as low as, I'd say this is our other takeoff point right here. $175. So this could steamroll into something further that dips a lot further. But right now, the biggest thing to look at, if you're shopping for clothes or shopping for any kind of goods, is the discount, right? So we're going to take this. No, we're not going to take that. All right, we're going to take this, drag it down to where it's at now. It's down 33%, 34%. That's a massive sale. Saved $150 on this pair of shoes or whatever. All right, so CrowdStrike looks promising. And where was that on our list here? There's a Democratic one? Yeah, Democratic one. CrowdStrike. Write that one down for later. Government Obligations Fund. Interesting. All right, now we look into the Republican picks. JP Morgan, NVIDIA, Comfort Systems USA. Comfort Systems USA. Let's look into that one. Stock. $300 down, $30. What is it though? Year-to-date return. Construction stock. Engineering and construction industries. Mechanical and electrical installation, renovation, maintenance, repair, replacement services. 2 segments, mechanical and electrical. Heating, ventilation. Weird. Just seems like a normal company stock to be this heavily priced. Like, look where it started. It's probably just been around for a while. And it just got a bunch of government contracts or something. But do they still have the working power, the workforce? I don't know. I do not want to steer anyone else there without knowing more. United Therapeutics. Interesting one. Arista Networks. Intel. Intel seems like it's not competing with AMD and Nvidia, but Intel's the number 3 there. Elevance Health, and they're going to be relied on because as Nvidia gets more expensive, AMD, there's got to be a competitive marketplace. And as long as AI is needed in all these microchips, they'll be around. Elevance Health, National Fuel Gas, NFG, Texas Instruments, and Shell. Now, Texas Instruments was a stock I had a little bit. Probably 2020 I had some Texas Instruments. It's literally the calculator. What else do they do besides... Oh, microchips and stuff too, I believe. They're right around 200. It's been there for forever. See, like this 200 number is pretty much average, but is this the bottom here at 140? And now we're going into all-time highs. It sure does look that way. It sure does look that way. Besides manufacturers sell semiconductors, analog, embedded process segments. 34,000 full-time employees. I like Texas Instruments, man. It just seems like a strong name. Makes household products to semiconductors and larger stuff for computer processing. I'm a fan. Because this one isn't getting, not a lot of people are seeing that one, Alright. So we went into our Democratic versus Republican views on stocks going in here. ETFs are the easiest way to do it. But looking at more Republican versus Democratic ETFs might be big. We could look into that real quick too. Both are relatively young ETFs, but sub versus unusual whales, Democratic ETF holds an early advantage. Return 45%, while subs versus... Interesting. These two stocks are kind of cool. I was looking at this earlier and I had no idea what it meant. Now I kind of understand it. So the Nancy is Democratic and the Cruise, is that after Nancy Pelosi? That's wild. Nancy and the Cruise. Let's check the buy-in price. Yeah, here it is. Ooh, coming down. Crashing structure. And it's going to look to retest this area or this area here. So look for this 34.90, 34.25 range. Interesting. And then the Republican one was Cruise. Alright, trend line, top. Looks like it's breaking all-time highs right now. Ooh, retesting, and then would just shoot up. Interesting. How do we get this one? This one looks a lot more promising because it broke out into all-time highs. Now it's come down to retest it, and typically after this, and this is a very strong wave here, building up, breaking above, coming back, retesting. I would expect it to shoot up from here. Now, the question is, if we do, this is the bottom here, right? It's the top. This is another technically bottom here, but it's still 2024. So now we do our Fibonacci scale. And I'll do it from here to here. So technically, according to the Fibonacci scale, it's still overbought because this would be the time you want to buy in here. $25 range. We're in the $30 range, which isn't awful. It really isn't. But let's say this is the bottom and we want to know where the future top is, right? Because right here is the 0.786. So let's delete this. Now we're going to draw a new one. And the question is, it's going to be here. And then the top is there. Alright, now we zoom in. Best time to buy in this $29 range, but it broke out. It's retesting this support line here around 30. And then it would break, go to that 1.618 here at $31. And then after it breaks that, the next is 32, 33, and so on. Interesting play out here. So we'll leave this up and we'll check in on this on these stocks. Very interesting. Cool 2 stocks to follow though, just showing general direction. Really looks like the Democratic one is going down further, and this one looks like it's just retesting before it springs back up to the upside. So amazing, just 2 different views, 2 different stock groups can have that perception on the chart. Indices at all-time highs. What happens next? On average, 12-month returns, 8.6 periods not at new high times. No need to fear new highs. And now seeing all-time highs is a good thing. Telling you, Democrats prefer Nvidia, big tech stocks, Salesforce, PIMCO, Mint. Alright, so that's all I got for you today on the presidential election and what could come out of it. So keep your eye and start building up a little portfolio, one for Democrat and one for Republican, and see what the vibe is going into it. See if you can grab some stocks that look cheap, and think, it's a revolving door, the White House. So if you invest in a Democratic one that you like now, it might do really well the next Democratic president. So don't buy something within the same year and sell and have to pay capital gains tax on it, or a loss, unless you want to write the loss off on your taxes or something. Just wait it out, because I believe what you invest in is for a reason. And if you like it, if it means that much to you, that it has upside to you. So believe in what you invest in, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. CryptoHound out. Beautiful. All right. Roar the chat. How we doing? I know that wasn't too detailed, but at least got some insight. That CrowdStrike one looks interesting, let me tell you. And we didn't even go into this stuff. That's okay. I was at 15 minutes anyway. No problem. No problem. DJT stock. The problem is DJT stock, I'm not seeing anybody else buying it. But let's see. Lockheed Martin, Mara, which is crypto, DJT. Interesting. Alright, people. Thank you guys for watching. I'm going to leave you, and I'm going to go do some video editing and party on. If you guys have any questions or anything, just join the Discord and let it rip. Ask all your questions in there. I'll answer every single one. And have a great night and rest of your week. Thank you and love y'all. I'm out of here.